So, you want to make your own custom Garchomp figure, but when you look on YouTube, there's no tutorials, only stuff about the games, and nah, that's a 3D pen. You want a custom figure that can move. Oh, well, I found something. If you want a custom figure, oh shoot, they got Rayquaza, they got Cerulite. Yeah. So the point of this video is kind of pointless, but if you still want to make the custom figure, stick around. So here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need a lot of cardboard, armature wire, Sculpting clay or clay of your choice, a hot glue gun, a lot of hot glue. You should probably get gloves since hot glue does hurt. 5 Lego ball joints and 5 Lego connector thingies like the mouth parts, and paint. Here's what you need to buy in case you're wondering. If you have no materials, final cost could be around 50 bucks. And since we're working with basic things like cardboard, you could already have like a head start on most of the supplies here.
Hey, what's up? Hey.
Here's the armature wire. Here's a little strategy I came up with myself. You grab pliers, you grab one end of the wrapped wire, you get a toothpick, insert it into the other end, and you just keep bending it over itself and over until you have a nice, pretty resistant thickness of the wire. If you have a computer, you can go to this website called sketchfab.com, and it allows you to look at 3D models of figures, well, characters. Once you have Garchomp's spine figured out through your own reference, or if you're following mine, we're going to focus on his legs. They're going to be made out of armature wire as well to support his weight. If you look here, I'm not making him super long, and this does bite me in the butt later, but we're able to figure it out. It's just going to be armature for his thighs, not his calves. Just to further explain in case you still don't understand, the armature wire is only going to be Garchomp's femurs, nothing under. We're going to use joints to cover that sooner in the video. Once you have your two pieces of armature wire lined up together pretty well, you think you have a nice understanding of where his legs are supposed to be. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to get some cardboard paper, put it over the wire, and then hot glue over that cardboard paper, and put the legs where you want them to go. This is because hot glue sticks really badly to metal by itself. So if we try to stick two pieces of metal together using hot glue, they're going to fall right off. The cardboard that's in between them is going to ensure that nothing falls off easily. I did end up putting too much aluminum foil over it, so he kind of has this weird like spine thing going on. Yeah, if you do this as well, you can just go ahead and cut that right off with your pliers. Be careful not to cut the spine, otherwise you'll have to restart. This is the part where you're going to need to get your clay. If it's Sculpey, that's awesome, but if it's some other alternative, that's also good. Just make sure it's either air dry clay or baking clay so that it can turn like rock solid. Now, get some more of your clay and cut it in half. We're going to be using this clay to make his feet. As you see here, I'm kind of demonstrating that this is just going to be the thigh. I had my big realization moment. He's going to have calves attached on later in the video. So yeah, he'll look something like that. Right before we go ahead and bake the feet, I want you to get a little hook, connection Lego joint piece. I like to cut mine in half, and then we're gonna imprint it onto the foot just to make like a hole so that we can later hot glue it on. As the feet and claws are baking, I'm gonna get some cardboard, cut it off the box that it was originally from, and we're gonna use this to make the thighs. After you made your first thigh for Garchomp, you're gonna realize that it's really flimsy. It's quite empty, so like you could just kind of squeeze it a bit and it bends and it could break or fold. So I like getting toothpicks and then putting them inside the thigh itself to act as support beams. As you see here, I'm bending the cardboard in on itself. Since we have the support beams inside, I could be pretty harsh on the cardboard. I could squeeze on it down a lot, crush it, push it around. It's not really going to break because of the toothpicks inside. We're essentially closing up the gap at the end of Garchomp's thigh, and this kind of creates his kneecap. Now, I go ahead and hot glue the thigh onto the metal wire, but it's not really the way to go. I forgot to, well, I didn't even forget, I just didn't know about the method yet. I forgot to do the whole cardboard hot dog thing on the metal wire. So yeah, it's not gonna stick if you do it this way. The leg's gonna jitter, it's gonna stutter, it's gonna wobble around basically. Once you do get the cardboard / metal wire into the thigh, which I didn't at first, you could get a little piece of cardboard, hot glue it onto the other opening end, and then just cut it so it seamlessly blends in, as I do here. After you get the thigh situated into the metal wire, get it pretty sturdy, make sure it doesn't wobble, we're gonna get started on his calves. Now for his calves, I did want to make a little bit of a different design choice, so I got two toothpicks, lined them up next to each other. This is gonna be the back of his calf. You can just go ahead and hot glue them next to each other. After you get them hot glued next to each other, you're gonna cut some cardboard rectangles. That ball joint piece is going to be sandwiched in between the toothpick and the rectangle cardboard piece that we're going to put on top of it. So that it's going to make sure it's pretty sturdy, pretty nice, pretty snug in there. As for the bottom end of the calf, we're going to put in another joint piece. It's going to be a mouth connector. So we're just gonna put that in there, cut it in half. You could always cut it down the middle if you need more space or if it's too big to fit in there. So yeah, make sure it looks like that and then just replicate it. Now just get out the way, you could hot glue in a ball joint piece into the feet. If you made the hole big enough, it should actually just slide in with the hot glue, but you might need to chip away at it with pliers or scissors. If it does break, the sculpting clay holds on really well to hot glue, so you can just form it back together. After you get the ball joints into the foot, you could just put on the claws at that point too. Just hot glue them on, nothing too crazy. Now you're probably wondering, how do we connect the calf / foot up to the upper thigh? Now that's where the toothpick comes in. If you have a pointy toothpick or like pointy scissors, you can go through the thigh at the end and just wedge the scissors in there as if you're sewing or something. And after you push it all the way through, you can get a hook piece and cut the back of it where the stud thingy is at. Just cut the back of that and it should be able to fit right through some hot glue. After you get the legs figured out, just copy and paste it over onto the other leg, and there you go. You have a functioning pair of dinosaur looking legs. Make sure to cut out a rectangle piece of cardboard. We're going to be using this as his belly. He has a really round belly, but then it transforms into a more defined chest up on top on his upper torso. For his tail, we're going to hot glue a little rectangle onto the bottom nub that we've given him with the clay. Just hot glue that on real secure. Around this point, I start figuring out how hot glue really works with the cardboard and metal. So, I kind of do a half hot dog thing here. I put the hot glue right in the middle of the cardboard, and then I just sandwich the metal in between the cardboard. And just for some extra support, I put in a little nice rectangle of cardboard in between all of it, so that it kind of like holds it together. Once you've glued on his front torso compartment area, you should have something looking like this. Half fleshed out lower body. Now, in order to make sure he doesn't like just crackle on the spot, I put toothpicks just all over his body kinda as more support beams, just kinda keeping it together. You should end up with something simple looking like this. Kinda like ribs almost. You can put more if you want. I only put these two just to, give him more stability and sturdiness. You shouldn't need more after this. But if you do want to put more on, just for extra stability, you can go ahead and do that. The next glaring issue I wanted to tackle was the fact that his thighs are just too small. Garchomp has thighs that connect into his body, and the thighs here, they kind of stop at his body. So, in order to create the illusion of his thighs connecting into his body and not reworking his entire leg, I just cut out a huge cylinder and glued it right onto his thigh. Now you can go ahead and cut out a considerably large rectangle. This is going to be in order to connect his upper lower half and lower half. As you see here, he has a weird, he just looks weird. So I'm using this thin sheet of paper cardboard in order to make it look seamless and just smooth. After you've done that, I actually go start ahead and building the chest, upper torso area. I didn't do the cardboard paper method yet, so you can go ahead and do that with his exposed armature wire. I did a half version of that, didn't really work. You really have to commit with the paper cardboard. Make sure to put a lot over it, like I showed in the demonstration, and you should be good. Now, there's a lot of customization you can do here. If you want a male Garchomp, you can actually make the fin, right? And then make a little cut in the middle of the fin. That signifies it's a boy. But if you want a female Garchomp, you can just leave it as a regular fin. And I leave it as a regular fin to make it a girl. Now you can hot glue it on, and I actually make 2 fins so that I could hot glue them together, just for more just so that it's not really flimsy. If you do it the way I do it, it's gonna be pretty sturdy. They're both gonna be hot glued onto each other. It's not gonna come off. Now it's time to get started on his chest. Well, her chest. If you're making a boy, his chest. Yeah, you know. Basically, it starts out as a trapezoid, upside down, and you can hot glue it onto the cardboard that you've put on your armature wire. Then, as you see here, you can hot glue 4 toothpicks so that they stick out the back. Think of it like a scaffolding kind of in Minecraft. It's gonna look like a rectangle with legs. Then you're gonna connect a little rectangle with hot glue onto the back of the 2 legs, so that you start building out the upper chest, upper torso, body. And then finally, you can do the same for the sides. Because it's both cardboard now, pretty easy to stick on. Then we could get 2 little rectangles of cardboard, fold them in on each other, and hot glue onto the top body. Then once you have the shoulders fully on and hot glued and they're set in, you could get a toothpick, make a little hole in the bottom side of the shoulders, and then get a ball joint, cut it, and slide it right in with some hot glue. We're about near the home stretch. We're just finishing stuff up with the body. All we have left now is the arms, head, and tail. As for his back, if you want, you can get a piece of cardboard and hot glue it onto that little gap there where the toothpick is at. Make a nice little rectangle with some angled cuts, and it should be able to go right in there. Once you get that hot glued in, you can hot glue the other side, and then we can get started on the tail. Now the tail is really just going to be some more rectangle-ish pieces that are made with angled cuts. Nothing too complicated. We can just put it on the edges of the bottom so that it's not really touching the metal, so that we don't have to worry about it just sliding off. Then you can just make another rectangle, put them together so that his tail looks like a triangle from behind, and that's the base of his tail done. His tail club trident thingy is pretty simple as well. Just think of like a moon crescent shape, but then have a spike jutting out the middle of it. And since it's just a light piece of cardboard, you can genuinely just hot glue it onto the tail. Not too much needs to be done there. And once you have that on, we can finally move on to the arms. Now his arms are probably the simplest part of Garchomp. It's really just lines and then the giant fin at the end. Also, just a little piece of advice if you're following the speed time lapse, make sure to make his forearm smaller than I made it. Later in the video, I finished the arm and it's too big for his body, so make sure to not make it too big. But if you do, and you're just going to follow the time lapse anyways, I have a simple fix for it if it's too big. So we made it to the part where I'm putting the arm on, and it's just too big to really make sense to fit on Garchomp. If I was making Mega Garchomp Z, then yeah, it'd work, but sadly no. And also I got the joints wrong. Instead of using a hook, no, well, I needed to use a hook, but instead I used the ball joint. So I'm peeling this off. It's pretty easy to peel off if you have pliers, and just put a hook right back in. Yeah, now it's obviously apparent that the arm is just too long. So, simple fix, just cut the forearm in half. Once you have it cut off, you could just put in a ball joint, just kind of insert it there, kind of make some space for it, and yeah, boom, the arm should be done. You could just copy and paste it over to the other arm with your newfound knowledge of not making it too big, and also getting the ball joints right, and yeah. So finally, we're at the most anticipated part of the video, the head. All the pieces on the right you will need. The mouthpiece on the left is not going to be needed, it's way too small. We're going to make it again later. And the foot is here for reference. Take all the time you need getting these pieces, and when you finally get them down, continue with the video, and I'll show you how to hot glue them together. Just a little disclaimer, this is my 4th time building the head. I made 3 iterations before this, and I only liked one of them. And even then, I still don't think it looks too accurate. So yeah, it's not gonna look the most accurate to Garchomp's actual head, sadly. I just can't really crack it down on how to get it down to that type of accuracy. So for now, we're gonna have to stick with this inaccurate, not so up to quality head until like some other professional creator, you know, does a better job than me eventually. After you cut down a toothpick and get it in there to act as a support beam, you're going to want to cut out these 3 new pieces. Now that you've hot glued everything to the face, you're going to grab a new mouthpiece, cut out a piece of cardboard that looks like mine, grab a ball joint and a hook joint. You could cut it in half if you have the conjoined Lego piece that I do, and then you're just going to stick on a ball joint to the mouth. After you hot glued your ball joint to the lower jaw, cut out a rectangle and hot glue the bottom part of Garchomp's face. Now, with our scissors, we're gonna make a hole in the bottom of Garchomp's face. This is gonna be so that we could hot glue the hook part into Garchomp's face, and then eventually connect the lower jaw to his top jaw. Now, we're gonna make the hammerhead protrusions that come out the side of his head. I don't know what to call them, but they're oval shaped. So we're gonna make 2 large ovals. Once you have the 2 ovals down, we're gonna get a piece of a toothpick, make it slightly longer than the length of his head, well, width of his head, put it straight down, and then just hot glue the ovals onto each side. Now that the ovals are in place, your Garchomp head is basically done for the most part, but it's really all up to personal preference. In my opinion, I don't like the fact that the toothpick is visible, so I've made a rectangle diamondish shape that we can just hot glue on top of it to make it unnoticeable. Your Garchomp head is basically now done. You can go ahead and make the oval side parts 3D, but I've cheaped out here and actually made them 2D. He doesn't look too good from the front, but his side view is actually pretty decent. For the final part here, I've actually given him eyes just to, give him a bit more of personality. I don't like looking at the blank cardboard. And we're actually going to go over how to connect his head to his body. Now, this is a demonstration head basically. I already have my original Garchomp head attached to his body, so I'm not gonna take it off and then put this one on. I have a piece of wire here that's gonna act like the neck piece of wire that you should have on your Garchomp. And I'm going to wrap it in cardboard paper, make sure it's nice and secure with the hot glue, and then just stick it in the head and see if it works. If it does, nice. Then we can put a fat glob of hot glue over it and it should stick pretty well. That's it for now, y'all. Thank you very much for watching up to this point. If you did successfully make a Garchomp like mine, congratulations. I didn't go over the painting just because this video is already pushing 30 minutes. And also, it's not too entertaining just watch me paint. He is 3 colors, blue, red, and yellow. So it shouldn't be that complex to paint. Again, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. If you did make it here, comment down below what I should make next, any character you want to see, any characters I already have made, if I should make them, and show y'all how to make them. But yeah, for the most part, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.